I want to give you something that's going to help you with what you want to do here. Pray to our Maker. Pray for Him to give you the ears to hear what you need to hear to help people. And say the words that you need to say to help people. Give you the wisdom to which you see that could help other people. And what helps you, because that's the only way you're going to really tell. We've been here for a long time. It's been, I don't know how many years. I never keep track of the years. My husband and I traveled with the kids. No matter what kind of job we have, we work with kids. And this little guy, he was probably a baby when I first met him. He came up to me and he says, Auntie, when is your birthday? So I told him. And he walked away and he come back. And he says, how many years are you? And I says, I never keep track. I don't know. And he stood there and I said, well, I'll figure it out and I'll let you know. So he left and I was just kind of laughing because he was so serious little guy. And when he asked me that, I was 87. And so he came back and I told him, I figured out how old I am. So I told him and he said, wow. Wow, he kept saying that. My great-grandchildren. Raymond is my oldest grandson. And I've taken him everywhere I've been. I've traveled and done a lot. And it was one of the ways I just like what you're doing, finding out what people are like. And it's one of the ways that it's easier for people to see what's going on instead of trying to read it, especially with English. English is, it's a language that you can hear it and read it any old way. You read it one time and 5 minutes later it could be different. And there's no feeling words, nothing with love in it. The word love is something different. And English is like that. It's so different with our Indian language, our language. I had to quit talking, so when I went to school, I went to a public school. Well, it wasn't public school, it was our native school when I was 7. And then I went to Ferndale Public School. And my dad told me, you're not going to teach or talk your language anymore. You got to learn what they're like outside. So I had to quit. It was really painful for me to let my language go. And every time I'd sneak away and talk to my aunt or somebody, that's what I'd do. And it so happened our bus driver was my uncle. So I talked to him a lot. I sat right behind him and talked with him.
So you kept it. Do you still speak a little of the language?
Yeah, and he took care of a lot of things. He was our first person that took care of if you got scratched or hurt or something, not feeling well. He'd take us down to this furnace and where he kept the school warm and everything, and talk to me. I didn't tell him that what his uncle or what his cousin, my dad, said not to talk to anybody. So I used to sneak around and listen to my language. So that was really hard, and it was painful to let my language go. Because with the language, it's not like English. If you have an audience, that's why I was asking you where you're from. I can address you and only you. you're female, you're a male, and the age you are, and all that. And it's such a loving language. I'm sure you know that. You don't have to say the word, it's there. The feeling is there. And we don't have to worry about it up here. It's here. Raymond, he's been with me since he was an infant. I talked to him when he was still in his mom's womb, sang to him and talked to him. And started to teach him already. So when he was born, I continued doing that. And he has a sister. It's him and his sister. I told my children when they had children, these are your children. You take care of your children. I'm not going to be a babysitter. But if I want to teach them, I'm going to take them. So every time I travel or do something in ceremony, I'd go and get them. And my daughter-in-law didn't like it. She got really angry at me because she's one of the people that got caught up in the Catholic Church, her family. Then I happened to go there to talk to one of my grandkids to their house, opened the door, and I heard him. Well, I'm gonna let the kids go. And she said she got angry and was saying things. You know, why are you letting that happen? And he said, what are you going to teach them? This is why Mom takes the kids. So I backed up and closed the door like I wasn't there.
Waited a few minutes, knocked again.
Yeah. I said, oh! When you start a ceremony, you got to be able to take care of the people, take care of your own family, teach your own family how to do things, and how to carry somebody that's going to come. And it's a lot different nowadays. You almost have to, make an appointment for heaven's sake, to go and visit somebody. In the past, if we wanted to go and see somebody, we'd go see them. At one time, we didn't have to lock our doors, didn't have to lock our cars, I could leave my purse someplace and it would be safe. Now you can't do that. When I was a girl, it was like living one before I went to school. One life. Then when I went to school, it was like living two. Then when my kids came along, they were living four and five because of all the things they were learning out at school. And now, with technology, it's worse. They can be sitting side by side like that on the machines.
It's a big difference from how it was before.
Mm-hmm.
But Auntie, you have so much wisdom because you saw how it was and you were carried by your parents and by your grandparents with tools and wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
So now this younger generation can learn a little bit. It's different.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you see the young ones? How do you see your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren? They are learning.
It's harder because I can't take them and go where I used to with my own children. And some of my grandchildren, just like Raymond, he's been with me ever since he was they lived next door. My son lived next door to me. And I taught him, this is why I don't have to talk when I go someplace. He'll talk with me because he's traveled with me. He knows what I would say. He knows what I'll do. and it's there. I had 2 grandsons, but he's the only one that stayed with me all the time.
Mm.
The other one got married in a different family. We don't all have the same traditions in the culture we have. We have several different kinds of traditions that are very sacred, and we don't put it out in public. It's just like some of the things that we do. I always tell the kids, today we're going to perform because people want to learn something, know something. So it's like a program. It's not a ceremony.
Correct. It's true.
So that's some of the things we have to deal with. All the times that I've been working with people, I've been helping the schools and helping families and children, even the troubled ones. I worked for 13 years with victims of crime, working with kids and their families, trying to get them to be normal again. It's really tough. And that was one of the hardest ones. And sometimes, I think the thing that was really tough for me in victims of crime is the abuse of children nowadays, abusing their grandparents, their elders, their parents, and each other, and not even think about it. Their feeling is gone, like their heart is stopped. They think about this, but only for themselves, what they want, and not think about anybody else. And in order to get what you want, you have to find somebody you trust. And I have to find somebody to trust. I don't talk this way by very many people. In fact, I'd refuse. That's why I asked you where you're from, and I know about Ireland. I've traveled a lot. And I knew you needed something. And you know what you're looking for?
I'm seeking, and I have been seeking for a long, long time, to understand what our elders and my elders carry forward that's being lost, that's being fading out.
I knew you had to do something like that. That's why you wanted to do this. And you know who you're doing it for?
So we are doing it in a way for the next generations to have this kind of beauty transmitted to them, so they can listen, so they can understand a little bit more. So it's for the next generation. Real heart, real purity, real spirit, real wisdom. When we saw you, we knew you carry all of that. Everybody knows. So that is very beautiful to have elders like that. It's very precious. It's very, very beautiful. So we are very honored that you wanted to share some words with us.
And that came from my childhood. That's what I'm doing with my grandkids and great-grandkids. I'd like to do more. I'd like to have a big building where I can bring them all in, all at once. But it's not so in this day and age. But I want to let you know something. And I know what you're looking for. It's right here. You've got it. And you want to fill that heart with something so you can help other people. And that's what your main thing is. It's not because you want to help that person. You got to help this one first. And that's what you're doing. Filling that up so you can help other people. And our Maker makes us, brings us into this life, gives us a job. None of us know what it is. But when we finish that job, he takes us back home. My grandfather, they just estimated he was 150 years old when he passed away. And I told my kids, you're going to have to put up with me until I'm 100. And I was just teasing him, of course.
Auntie, we're really touched by your teaching, your simple, loving teacher. It's pure love. And that's the wisdom that we want to learn from, and we want to be, that it touches us and blesses us. And so, of course, the world can get better. And we want to honor this wisdom because it's so precious on this earth. And you as a woman also, it's so important, the grandmother's vision and love for the world. And we thank you so much for being that on this earth today. It's so important. And we want you to know that we are so grateful. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know what we are. Both of you are training to be that. A tool to help other people. This is why you're filling your heart with what you're dealing with. To know yourself, to trust, learn to trust people. And a lot of times, this day and age, you have to talk to several people in order to get what you want. In our tradition, in the past, and when we do ceremony that's very sacred to us, we'll call maybe 2 or 4 witnesses. Because of this English language. In our language, if we wanted to talk to the kids, we'd address just the kids or the elders or whoever we're going to, our audience is. But one of the things that happens is we have to look at our audience. You try to write it down, but it never ever turns out the way you want it. It'll bring something else. And a lot of times our maker has us thinking, especially if we're dealing with kids or families. I deal with all ages, and I've always been that way. They said, when did you become an elder? I says, I don't know. When I was a kid, I guess. Because I haven't changed. I have adopted people, sons and daughters.
Lucky
all over
them.
the world. As they, when they travel and they go to school and so forth, they miss their parents or grandparents or mothers or fathers or whatever. Then they'll ask me, can I call you auntie? Or can I call you mom? Can I call you grandma? So I have kids all over the world. Now, shall we go and look at the other people?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
I'm a people watcher.